Hello, my name is Darren Thomas, and I am the Director of Educational Research Techniques. In this particular blog post, we're going to be taking a look at the different options that are available in forums in Moodle. So as you can see here, I'm already logged into my Moodle course. I've already turned editing on. This is why this is now turned red instead of green. So what I want to do now is I'm not going to make a new forum because I just want to show you the different features that are available or the different options that are available within a forum. So there's no need for me to create a new one. So I'm just going to click on edit here and I'm going to click on edit settings. Alright, so I'm inside Moodle and here are the different options that we're going to look at in this particular video. Attachment and word count, subscription and tracking, post threshold for blocking, grades and ratings. These last four choices here, common module settings, restrict access tags, and competencies, for the typical Moodle user, you're probably not going to have to deal with these too often, so we're not going to waste time in the videos trying to explain them. So let's take a look at the first one, attachment and word count. Now for those of you who are familiar with email, which is probably everybody, or even like Facebook, you can always attach things to websites and emails, etc. So the attachment feature inside the Moodle forums is just, how big can the file be if you allow them to have attachments. For this particular server, I can upload a file that's up to 100 megabytes, which is pretty large, even today in 2017. Or we can even limit it, or we can say we don't want them to attach anything. We can uploads are not allowed. So that's what that feature does. It allows you to control the size of the file that students can upload. Now this is very technical, obviously if, your server is small or if you don't want them to, waste a lot of space, you would have to think about these sort of things. But for the average person, it's probably not going to matter. The next option is maximum number of attachments. Again, how many files can they attach to a particular post? Anywhere from 0 to 100. And then the last one, which is probably the most useful, is display word count. What this does is that Moodle will count the number of words that the student types into the actual forum. The only problem is that it doesn't tell you how many words the student typed until they save it and display it. So the only reason this might be a problem is that if you have like a certain number of words you want the students to reach, like a minimum, or if you have a maximum number of words in which they cannot go over, they really won't know how well they did on that until they save and display. And then they have to go back and edit, which is a little bit of a headache somewhat. But besides that, the display word count is a very useful feature in understanding, about how long the student spent, how many words the student typed. Now, next one is subscription tracking. The subscription is basically if you want the students to know what is going on, the subscription mode will automatically update the students about different posts or different things that are happening inside that particular forum. So there are four choices here, as you can hopefully see: optional, force, auto, and subscription disabled. Optional means that it's up to the student if they're subscribed to the forum and they get the updates. Force means they have to. Auto means at first they're subscribed and they can opt out later. And subscription disabled means the student cannot receive updates about what is happening inside the forum. So normally these updates come in the form of an email to the student's email address that is, recorded and saved inside Moodle. Read tracking is another great option. It helps you to know what posts are new and what posts are, the new posts that are happening. So if I showed you one example of this, here's a class that I'm running actually right now. And so off to the side, it tells me how many unread posts there are. And if I click here, it takes me to the next page and it shows me how many are unread for each discussion topic. And so if I click right here on this gentleman's post, everything that has the orange highlight is a post that I haven't read yet. So that's kind of how it lists the person who's subscribed to the forum and the person who's part of the discussion to know what is new and what is not, which can get very confusing over longer posts. Excuse me. Now, post threshold for blocking. This is great for if you have disciplinary issues in the forums. You can block how many times people can post within a certain given time period. You can give them a warning. Again, this is more of a management tool for those difficult students, I guess. Other than that, I don't see any real use for this for the typical teacher. Now the grade feature, this is where, keep in mind that all the activities in Moodle can also, or most of them, can be put inside the grade book and you can give points for them. Now, so what the grade feature does is that it allows you to put the forum inside a category you have created inside the Moodle gradebook. So, this is of course assuming you're using the Moodle gradebook. Now, the reason these categories are available, assignments, project, and test, is that these are the categories I've already created inside my Moodle gradebook for this mock class I use for the videos. So, for example, I could put this inside assignments, and then if I go to the actual gradebook inside Moodle, it'll show the actual forum inside the gradebook in the place where I placed it. So if I click over here, gradebook settings, and so you can see right now he's not inside any category, he's uncategorized. But once I click on assignment, this person will move right here to be under the assignment category. And so that's the beauty of it. So now example 2 will actually be an actual assignment that I can give points for when I read their discussion post, and I'll show you that in a second. So that's how that works. Now, the grade feature allows you to put the actual form inside your grade book somewhere. By default, it's uncategorized, but you can also place it in one of the categories you create in the actual grade book. Now, the second feature that works in combination with that is rating, which is right here. So, rating is somewhat complicated. There's several features here. The first thing you have to think about is aggregation type, and there's several different types here. Now, inside a particular forum, a student can post multiple times, and so you have to figure out how you want to give the scores if they post several times. So there are 5 different options here: average of ratings, count, maximum, minimums, and sum. Average of ratings just takes the average score that the student got over several posts, so whatever that can be. Count is like they get a score based on how many actual items get rated. So that's how it works. So if they post one time, it's like, kind of like 1 point, whatever. Maximum is like the highest score that they got, it becomes the final grade. Minimum is the lowest score they got, becomes the final grade. And sum is where it kind of adds up. So if the first post is given 5 points, that it becomes 5 points. If the second post is given 3 points, 5 plus 3 is 8, etc. In my experience, count, maximum, minimum, and sum are just not really all that useful. I always normally use average of ratings because if you use sum inside the Moodle gradebook, the grades are low at first because maybe you put the score can be 50, and so if they're supposed to do 10 posts and there's like 5 points for each post, when they get a 5 out of 5 on the first post, in the gradebook it shows 5 out of 50. So it kind of messes up their grades temporarily. So normally I just do average of ratings. That's my preferred choice. And again, after that you have scale, and you can use a point, or you can use a scale, or you can set it to none if you want. That's how it works. We've talked about how to make scales in the past, so this is in a prior video. But the point system is what we're probably most used to, and you can set the maximum grade right here out of 100 or whatever you want. Now, keep in mind that if you switch it to scale, you cannot set the maximum because the maximum is determined by the scale that you are using. Again, these are things, the scale is something we discussed in a prior post. So that is all of the various features inside the Moodle forum. One last thing that I would like to show you is what it actually looks like to mark or to grade a Moodle post. So here is a Moodle post, and so this is me posting as the teacher, and this is the student. And you can see right here, I have a score right here. Average or rating is how I'm calculating, and I can give a score anywhere from 0 to 100 based on what this student has said. And then once I do that, it records the grade. And that's a very great feature for knowing what's going on. So that is how it works. In this post, we've talked about a lot of things, so I just want to review. We've been looking at the different options for the forums in Moodle. And so what we have seen is that you can control attachments, none or many. You can also have the different posts post the the number of words the student has typed into the actual Moodle forum. You can also deal with subscriptions and tracking, whether or not the students receive updates about what's happening inside the forums via email, and or students can also keep track of the new posts that are coming in through the read tracking. Post threshold for blocking is kind of more of a classroom management feature. If there's things happening in the forums that are not quite appropriate. The grade feature is grade and ratings need to be discussed together. The grade feature allows you to place that particular Moodle forum activity inside a particular category inside your gradebook. Now, this assumes that you have set up the gradebook beforehand. If not, you can always come back into the edit settings feature of the forum and change this to whatever category. And the last thing that we looked at, which is probably the most complicated, is the rating section. We looked at the top three. We didn't look at the bottom option. We looked at, the top two, aggregate type and scale. So aggregate type has to do with how does Moodle, calculate the points that you're giving, and the scale is how you're going to measure it, whether it's using a scale or whether it's using points, whatever you're going to do. So we hope that these explanations of these features has given you an idea of some of the possibilities in Moodle. Thank you for listening.